Hey everybody, thanks for coming back to watch another video. This video is going to be a story video about going to deer camp with all the guys I worked with one year. And we all had the craziest 5 days I've ever had during deer camp. From deer drives, compound bows, long range shots, AK-47s, shotguns. So if you want to hear this story, stick through the intro. Got a feeling you're going to want to. Let's go.
There I was, back in the wild again.
Do not do any of this ever, okay? Alright everybody, let's get this story started. So, I was working for this company doing stucco. It was called Mudslingers. And my boss and a bunch of the guys that worked for this company were avid deer hunters. So as soon as they found out about me bow hunting all the time and deer hunting all the time, they invited me to go to deer camp one year. So my boss had leased several hundred acres of land up north, right at the Missouri-Nebraska state line. So I'm telling you what, guys, there was deer everywhere up there. I mean, it was crazy. Up north, lots of deer, and they're big. The deal was, when you go to deer camp, they have this list, and it was to see who could kill the most deer. And there was quite a few killed. I'll just say the back of a pickup truck got loaded up a couple times with deer. Like, I'm talking about heaping pile of deer, a lot of them. Now, when I went, I got invited. I didn't have, at this time, a really good deer rifle because I was mostly bow hunting, so I was spending a lot of my money on archery equipment and bows and things like that. So my firearms or rifle collection was not very big yet. No, it's much bigger now, but that doesn't matter. So when I went on this deer hunt, all I had was my compound bow. So I was just gonna, hunt with my bow. And my boss had told me that once I filled my archery tags, that he had a rifle that I could use to fill rifle tags. And I was like, right on, that's pretty cool. So we all load up and we head north. We get to the deer camp. So I'd never seen this place, so when we get there, all I see is what looked like a block building. And it didn't look that big when we pulled up in the drive, So what my boss had done is he had leased this land for deer hunting, but then he got permission to actually build a deer camp building, which they did out of block, concrete block, and then they stuccoed the outside of it. Well, this hunting cabin was a lot bigger on the inside than it was on the outside. And one of the really cool parts about this hunting cabin was it had a flat roof on it. And there was a ladder inside. And you could climb this ladder, access to the roof, get up on the roof, and there was a shooting station on the roof. So you could actually just climb up to the roof and hunt this big field that was right in front of the deer camp. Now, as far as I know, nobody did that. But that was the plan, but I never seen nobody do it. What we did was a lot of driving around. So up north, all the property is sectioned up into these squares or rectangle shapes, and there's roads in between every section. So what we did was just drive those roads, and as soon as they seen deer out in the field, they'd all just jump out of their truck, start shooting. Now, I wasn't doing that. I was bow hunting. And so for the first couple days, that's all I did was bow hunt. Well, them other guys, they were all there rifle hunting, so they was just stacking up deer, y'all, I'm telling you. Now up there's not a whole lot of patches of woods, but there are some patches of woods in between, okay, in between the fields. There's these strip of woods, and there's usually some kind of canal or waterway as well. So what I was doing was walking them little waterways in them little strips of woods with my bow and arrow and just shooting everything that walked out in front of me. At the time, everything was open. Trapping season was open, deer season was open, so I was able to shoot whatever I wanted with my bow and arrow. Well, the list that was made was mainly for deer, but I started bringing in other stuff. But the fox I didn't kill with my bow and arrow. The fox I actually killed with a 308 that another guy had that was in the truck with me. So that happens on the way there, actually. The fox and the 308, that was the night we was showing up. We were pulling into the driveway of the hunting cabin, and there was a fox standing there, and everybody stopped and they're all looking at it, and somebody was like, somebody shoot the fox. And so I grabbed a 308, I shot the fox, and that 308, it demolished that fox. I'd never seen nothing like that before. Almost split it in half. It was intense. But anyway, so I got the fox. The next morning, get up, I go out. I don't see any deer. There's gunshots going off everywhere. It was sketchy and dangerous. But I killed a possum in one of them creeks, brought it back. So I've got a fox and a possum basically first day. First 24 hours. Alright, so I'm from southern Missouri. Down here we don't do deer drives. We definitely don't road hunt. Nobody ever hunts from the road down here. And people don't shoot across the roads. They don't set up shooting ranges across fields and just let everybody willy-nilly shoot deer running across the field. I mean, it was crazy up there. That's how they're doing it. People were literally all day driving these little roads in between fields, just shooting deer. I seen game wardens, and I never seen a game warden one time question any of these people. We go right past a conservation area. Parking lot, game warden. He's out there talking to people at the conservation area. This conservation area is basically a big field with a parking lot. People are literally standing just off of the parking lot on fence posts with their rifles, just standing there. Just a row of people, you guys. Just waiting for deer to cross the field, and everybody starts taking shots at it till somebody drops it. I've never seen deer hunting like this before in my life. And the game warden standing there while this is going on, not saying a word. So once we see what's going on there, I'm like, you know, we ain't hunting this. I'm not getting in that line. You know, it's not how I do it. Let's go. So we get in the truck, and this is third day. Second day. All right. So I got out. I jumped ahead. First day, fox, possum. That night, them guys got to doing a little drinking. I don't drink. They started drinking a little bit, and they wanted to go run the fields and shoot coyotes and whatever was out in the field. Okay? But we're going to use shotguns. Put the shotguns in the truck. We all jump in the back of the truck. So we're loading shotguns, and we're just driving fields. And basically what we were shooting, you guys, skunks and raccoons. So the first night we were out shooting skunks and raccoons. I shot a couple skunks, I shot a couple raccoons. So I've got on the list 1 possum, 1 fox, 2 skunks, 2 coons. Okay, first night, first day and night. Next day, we're going deer hunting. We're going to look for conservation areas or other private land where people might let us hunt, because we got like 8 guys, and the property that we're hunting, well, they pretty much got it covered. So there's a couple of us, and we're just driving around trying to find somewhere else to hunt. I'm thinking conservation land probably be all right. You know what I mean? We get to the conservation area that's closest to this place. It is not at all what I'm thinking. It's like a turkey shoot, right? Everybody's there, it was crazy. So I'm like, nope, we gotta go. I ain't getting in on this. Game warden's there. I don't want no part of this. So when we're leaving that place, we go down this little hill, okay, flat. There's a little draw, goes up, gets flat again, and you can see a farmhouse right over here. Okay, I'm talking by way of crow fly, straight line, no more than 150 yards from this parking lot. Okay, maybe 200. 200 I think is stretching, but it could have been 200 yards. So we pull out, we leave. We're going down. You guys, this is insane. We're going down that little draw, that little dip. As soon as we get down to the bottom of it, like 3 doe run across the road, run right onto the conservation land in this little draw. I'm like, what the? Right into the turkey shoot, you guys. And I'm not kidding. It sounded like World War III when these 3 does hit that field. All them guys opened up. I don't think any of the deer survived. So I'm looking at the guy driving. I'm like, I can't believe this. Well, the rifle my boss said I could borrow was an AK-47 with 2 30-round clips taped together. This thing looked like something straight out of Rambo, y'all. Now, honestly, I didn't ever intend on using that rifle to hunt a deer because, for one, I know they're not that accurate and it's just a waste of time. And for another, I just didn't feel right. You know what I mean? I'm not deer hunting with an AK-47. It just don't feel right. So, but that's what I got, and it's in the truck. And the guy I'm with is the guy with the 308. And so we stop, the deer cross. We go ahead and start up the hill towards the farmhouse. So we're pulling the hill. We're getting close to the top. I look over at the farmhouse, and there's these 2 old guys sitting in the front yard. I'm not kidding you guys. Sitting in the front yard, smoking cigars, drinking beer, had their rifles like this. There's talking. Right across the road is a big field, and this guy owns it. And it was a cornfield that had been cut down. And we're creeping slow, y'all. We're going slow because we see these guys are hunting across the road. They're watching the field across the road. So we're going slow. We're creeping up on them. All of a sudden, I mean, just about the time we get in front of these guys, they jump up, they aim, and they start shooting right across the road. Now I look in the side view mirror of this truck behind us, and that game warden is still standing in that parking lot talking to people. Guns are going off. These guys are shooting right across the road, right out in broad daylight. Everybody can see what they're doing. I'm in shock. I've never seen this kind of deer hunting activity in my life. I never witnessed this. So these guys are, boom, they each got 5 rounds. Boom, boom, boom. They empty their guns, okay? We're still just sitting in the road. I'm just watching. Old boy driving, we're just watching. These guys walk across the road in front of us, look at us. They look right at us. Get across the road. They're reloading their guns. As soon as they cross the road, we start pulling up. We get right up behind them, and I got my window down, and now we're just sitting there, and we can see this buck just walking across this field. He's not running. He's not in no big hurry. He's just walking, and he's a pretty good sized buck. He wasn't no giant buck, but he was a big 8-pointer or 10-pointer. I couldn't tell, but he had a wide spread, and he was decent looking. And he's just taking his time, you guys, across this field. Now, he's out there about 200 yards. He's a pretty good click away from these guys with these rifles. But I'm almost certain these guys were shooting 30-06s. That's what they look like. That's what they sounded like. So one of the old men empties his gun again. And as soon as his gun empties, he turns around and looks me dead in the eye. And he says, "Are you guys just going to sit there and watch? Or are you going to get out and shoot this deer?" And I was like, I looked over at the guy driving. I said, what are we going to do? And he's like, "We're going to shoot the deer." So he puts it in park. He jumps out. I jump out. I got an AK-47, y'all. I don't know. You know what I mean? So I jump out. He jumps out. We run around. Here's the 2 old guys. I'm standing next to them. The guy driving, he's right next to me. 1 deer walking across this field. 1. These guys, these old timers, they're reloading still. We've jumped out. I jacked around in that AK-47. My buddy, he starts shooting first. He's got that 308. Man, it was loud. It goes off. Boom, I'm instantly deaf. I'm not lying. I mean, he was like right here. Boom. My ear goes numb. I can't hear nothing. It's ringing. I pull that AK-47 up. It's a joke, you guys. Boom, boom. I start shooting. I can see the dirt flying. I'm trying to adjust my aim. Boom. I'm taking my time with this, you know. I'm not trying to be ignorant with this AK-47. I got 60 rounds on this thing. I don't even know if that was legal for me to be using that gun. But it was 2 banana clips, y'all, taped together, straight up out of Rambo. So I'm just like, pow, 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 shooting at it, dirt flying. I couldn't figure out the range, but I was starting to get closer. You know, I was shooting, the dirt clouds was getting closer. The deer is still just walking. Like he knows nobody's going to hit him. I don't understand. This guy was brave, this buck. Just taking his time walking. It's a big field. He's just walking, taking his time. Everybody's shooting. Boom, 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 boom. Nobody's hitting him. Dirt flying everywhere. Everywhere. Nobody can hit the target. These guys shooting 5 rounds in their guns. Eventually, all of them are out, and they're reloading. And one of them old men looks at me, and he says, "Hey, can't you shoot that gun faster?" He was serious. He was dead serious. He wanted that deer dead. I said, "Yeah, I can shoot it faster." He said, "Well, why don't you?" I said, "All right. I'll tell you what, guys, I let that AK-47 breathe. I went ahead and emptied that clip, and there was at least over 20 rounds left." I said, "Pow, pow, 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 pow," as fast as I could pull the trigger. Man, dirt was flying everywhere. That deer started running. That deer, he started jogging. He wasn't full out running, but he picked it up. I was sending dirt flying, dirt clots, rocks, everything all around this guy. He's starting to pick it up a little bit. I'm feeding this thing. Boom, snap, it locks open. I'm out. But I hit the little button underneath, drop the clip, flip it over, shove the clip back up in there. I reach up to pull the action to start feeding it again. That old man tapped me on the shoulder. He said, I think that's good enough, young man. I don't think we're going to hit this deer. And I looked over at that old man and I said, you wanted me to shoot it? We're going to shoot it. And I let her go, boys. And right about the time I let her go, that deer had hit the fence and he was just fixing to jump the fence. And right on the other side of the fence was a strip of them woods I've been telling you guys about. And the one thing I can remember is there was a cedar tree. And that deer jumped the fence. And when he jumped the fence, he landed right behind that cedar tree. And I'll tell you what, I tried to cut that cedar tree down. I said, "Tut, tut, 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 tut." I fed it. I emptied that AK-47 and I didn't hit nothing but dirt and maybe that cedar tree. Probably a branch. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure it was all dirt. One thing I know for a fact, that field had a lot more lead in it when we left than it did when we got there. I fed it. I was so jacked up after shooting that AK-47. I'm standing there, I'm just shaking. And these two old guys, they're just looking at, they're holding their guns down and they're just standing there looking at me. Like they just seen the craziest thing they'd ever seen in their life. And I'm jacked up. My eyeballs are this big. I'm shaking. I had an adrenaline overload. I was maxing out. Almost to like an out-of-body experience. Jacked up. So anyways, the gun's empty. It's smoking hot. The guy driving with the 308, he got 2 clips through. He shot 10 times. He didn't hit nothing neither. He had a big fancy scope and everything. He didn't hit it neither. So we jump in the truck. Them old guys, they were like, man, that was the coolest thing we ever seen. So we take off. Day 2. That night, we hit the fields again. I killed a few more skunks. And I think at least 2 or 3 more coons. So now, my tally is 1 fox, 1 possum. I think I'm at 4 skunks and 5 or 6 raccoons. Maybe 4 or 5 raccoons. I don't know. All I really remember is the total at the end, y'all. So don't worry. The numbers add up at the end. Day number 3. Get up. I get my bow. I go to the woods. Now, it's just like about 150 yard strip of woods by the hunting cabin that I'm going and hunting in. So day 3, I go out there that morning, right at daylight, and the first thing that happens is turkeys fly down. So day 3, that morning, within about 45 minutes of leaving, I'm walking back, I've got a little Jake turkey. So I get back to camp, we take the turkey. I was just gonna cut the breast out because that's just how I do it. One of the other guys there is like, "Nuh-uh, Cooper, we're eating the whole turkey." And I was like, all right. So I chucked it. I chucked it to him and I said, pluck it. And he did. So I got in the truck and I went riding around with one of the other guys. Now he had a 270 with a real nice Leopold scope on it. And I believe it was a Remington 270. It was a really nice gun. It might have been a Weatherby. It was a Weatherby. It was a Weatherby 270 with a Leopold scope. Man, he was proud of this rifle. And like, proud. I don't know how old it was or nothing. It didn't look that old. But anyways, it was his favorite rifle, 270. We're driving around these dirt roads again. And I don't know how he spotted this deer, but he did. And this ended up being a really nice 10-pointer. But he just stops. And it was a field, but it was like a hay field. It wasn't cut or nothing. And I'm like, what do you see? And I'm looking in the field, and I'm looking, and I don't see nothing. I can't see nothing. And I'm looking, he goes, don't you see that? I'm like, see what? He said, it looks like a deer looking right at us. He said, is that a deer looking at us? And I'm looking, and I'm looking. So it was a buck, and he was laying down. And I guess while driving by, I don't know, he popped his head up and looked at us. And my boss noticed him look at us. Anyways, it caught his eye. He seen it. I finally spotted it. He said, is that a buck? And I'm looking. We got binoculars. I grabbed the binoculars. I'm looking. I find it. I zoom in on it. I'm like, yeah, that's a nice buck. I get my binoculars down, and by the time I had the binoculars down, he had that 270 out the window. He got her up. He shoots. As soon as he shoots, he's like, did I get it? I'm like, I don't know. I look with the binoculars, and naturally, I don't see nothing. Like, I don't know. I don't see nothing. So he gets out of the truck, goes, climbs the fence, and starts walking to where he's seen that buck. And sure enough, he hit it. It was laying there dead. So me and him go get the buck. We field dress it, drag it, throw it back in his truck. So we're headed back to deer camp with this buck because he's going to show everybody. And it was one of the bigger bucks killed. It was big. It was wide. It wasn't real big and heavy, but it was really wide. So while we're sitting at this stop sign, we're just talking. And I see something running across the field on the other side of the road. Now, I'm guessing it's around 500 yards. My boss thinks it was a lot farther. Well, we see two things running across this field. I honestly thought it was deer. But I think it was because I was so jacked up over him just killing that buck that I just wanted to see deer. So the two things running across the field was deer in my brain. Now, my boss is saying, no, Coop, I think them are coyotes. I'm like, no, they look like does to me. He's like, no, I think they're coyotes. Now, once again, I had a pair of binoculars. For some reason, I did not pick up the binoculars and look to see what these were. I just kept saying they're does. And he's like, here, you think you can take that shot? I said, I don't know. What's your 270 dialed in at? He said, it's zeroed in at 100. I said, all right, I'll take a shot at him. I open the door. I get out. I'm getting a rest on the door. Now, we're at a stop sign. So, my boss, he's watching for traffic. There's not a lot of traffic, which is illegal. It's really illegal. Don't do it. Do not ever shoot from your vehicle, from a road, none of this. Do not do any of this ever, okay? But for some reason, where I was at, this was tolerated. So I got by with it. I get out, open the door, get a rest on the door. My boss is watching for traffic. He's telling me if there's cars coming. So I've got the gun in the window. He's telling me it's clear. I take aim. It's a coyote. And I told my boss, I'm like, you was right, it's coyotes. He said, shoot them anyway. I was like, all right. So I went ahead, got him in the scope, zoomed the scope in real nice. He had a real nice Leopold scope. Zoomed it in. And I asked him, I said, how far do you think that is? He said, oh, it's got to be 700-800 yards, Coop. And I'm like, these crop fields aren't that big. I'm thinking 500. They was running right at the edge of the field where one of them little strips of woods was. And they wasn't running, they was just like trotting, just jogging. And so I get on the one in front. Now, the thing with coyotes, if you hit one and wound it, the rest of them will come and attack it, so you can go ahead and finish them off too. And that's exactly what I was thinking. I'll shoot the one in front. When I hit the one in front, if I don't kill it and wound it, the one in back is going to come back and attack it, or at least check it out, see what's going on. I'll be able to get the second one. So I get on the coyote, I lead the coyote about a foot, and I raise on the coyote, I would guess about 18, 20 inches high on that coyote. So the scope didn't have mil dots in it, or I'd tell you guys just like how many mil dots I held high. But if I was gonna guess, I held at least 2 mil dots high. Okay? If you're using a scope with mil dots, picture 2 high. And one, or about half of one in front. Let it about halfway to one, 2 high. And I'm following through with my shot. So I get this coyote's pace, I pull the trigger, and after I pull the trigger, I just follow through. Boom. Well, I didn't get a good shot. I did hit it, but I hit it back, behind, and in the body. So it was either a lung or a gut shot. Either way, coyote starts spinning circles. It's biting itself, spinning circles. The coyote in back, it takes off running past the coyote I shot. So it ran out past it and then stopped and turned around and started coming back. So I jacked another round in and I get on the coyote that's hit. Now I know exactly where I hit, where I was aiming when I hit this coyote. I'm gonna wait for this second coyote to stop. I'm not gonna take a shot while it's moving. It walks back, it does exactly what I assume it's gonna do. I've seen them do it 100 times. It comes back to start attacking the coyote that's wounded. And it walks up to that coyote. As soon as it walks up to stop and look at it, I let it go, and I dropped that one. I dropped it right where it was at. It never flinched or nothing. So that was 2 coyotes, day 3. So now my boss is freaking out. He's never seen anybody take shots that far before. 2 shots, 2 hits. If it's zeroed in and you know the zeroing, it's just like traditional archery. If you just trust your instincts, your brain will tell you where to aim. It will just do it instinctively. Just go until it feels right and then squeeze the trigger. And that's what I did. I adjusted until it felt right. And as soon as it felt right, I squeezed the trigger and I hit that coyote. It wasn't the best shot, but it was a good enough shot to stop it, and it did kill it. But it allowed me to get a second shot and know where I needed to aim so I could be even more accurate. Well, my boss, he's all jacked up. He's, man, that's the coolest gun ever. That's the best gun. I'm like, yeah, it's a nice gun. So we get in the truck. We don't go get the coyotes. No sense in it. We head back to the camp. He's got his buck. He brags, shows off the buck. That's day 3. Day 3 night. We go out, same thing. Coons, skunks. Okay? So we're good. Day 4. Day 4. Alright, so this day, just about everybody's killed deer. I haven't killed one yet. I'm not really concerned. I really don't care if I kill a deer on this hunting trip. I've already had such a good time going out and shooting skunks and raccoons and coyotes, foxes, and man, it's a blast. AK-47 till the barrel melts down. Day 4, I've already had the best time I've ever had on a deer camp hunt. Ever. Right? So, I don't care if I kill a deer. I'm just having a great time. Oh, and I got the turkey. Turkey. I forgot about the turkey. Okay, so I only get 1 turkey. Day 4, there's going to be a deer drive. Now, I don't know whose idea this was, and there was people at this deer drive that wasn't in our deer camp that I had never met. There was four-wheelers involved and a whole lot of people walking. I'd never done a deer drive ever, to tell you the truth. Not just like this, but ever. But I never thought that you would do it like this, the way they did it. And I would never set one up the way these guys set it up. There's no way ever I would do it this way. So what they was doing, it was huge fields that were uncut fields. They had hay in them. You know, they were hay fields. But what we were going to do was, so many men this ways are going to walk this way. So we're going to get a line, let's say, to the north. We're going to make a line that's going to walk south. But on the east and west, we're also going to have lines that are going to be walking in towards us, going south, right? Like we're boxing the deer in and pushing them, all the deer, down one little valley. And it wasn't even a valley, you guys. It was a freaking field. And you could see the guys that were shooting. You could see them shooting right towards you at deer that were running between you and them, wide open. It was the most craziest thing, deer drive, I had ever witnessed or been in. I was scared to death. And I'm telling you right now, I spent half of that deer drive crawling on my belly. When them guys started shooting, and you could hear the bullets zipping by, I hit the deck. I started crawling out of that field. And I was mad. I told my boss and all the other guys that was with us, don't ever, ever, ever ask me to help do anything like that again. There's no way. That was the most dangerous thing. I might as well had just had somebody drop me off in, you know, some kind of third world country that's having a war and let me try to get out. Because that's what it was like. I mean, it was... Now, all the gunfire was coming from one, you know, selected area, one little tiny spot, but they was going in every direction towards us, towards all the people. I don't know, man. I don't know how them guys up north hunt. You know, as soon as I seen them shooting out of trucks in the game warden just standing there watching it happen, I should have known it was going to be something totally different than I'd ever experienced in my life. I mean, it was just... It was insane, you guys. It was insane. So, day 4, deer drive. I'm scared. I get PTSD from being shot at. I'm not even kidding, man. That was scary, you guys. It was bad. So, that night, 4, same thing. We're out. We're shooting the skunks and the coons. Well, there happened to be a fox in the field. We're in a truck. So the fox can run a lot faster than the coons and the skunks. One night we seen a fox. 4th night, we're chasing this fox down. Now there's 3 or 4 guys in the back of a truck and a couple guys in the front of the truck. And everybody in the truck is drunk except me. I'm the only sober person in the truck. They're trying to chase this fox down. This fox is running left and right. He's zigzagging. They're trying to get after it. So I'm over the cab of the truck with a shotgun. And I'm trying to figure out this fox's pattern and then the driver's pattern. And I'm trying to calculate for when they crisscross like this. That's how it was going. It was going like this. And so I'm like, yeah, boom! Rolled that fox. So I got 2 foxes. Night 4 over, we get back to camp. Day 5. So now I've got on the list 2 foxes, 2 possums, and this is going to be the total: 2 foxes, 2 possums, 7 skunks, 10 coons, a turkey, 2 coyotes, and that's it so far. Okay, that's the list for me. Now everybody else has deer. Some of them guys killed like 4 deer. They had tags, and that's how many they killed. Some of them might have killed even 5, but everybody killed at least 2 except for me. And I'm telling you guys, when we loaded the back of that truck up with deer, it was like cordwood. It was rounded with deer. These guys was slaying deer. I wasn't. Anyways, last day, day 5, my boss realizes I haven't killed a deer yet. So now the whole day with everybody is dedicated to making sure I get to kill a deer. Which was pretty dang cool if you think about it. Everybody else had killed deer, but some of them guys still had tags. And my boss even had a tag still. And I still had a rifle tag. But they could have been out filling more of their tags instead of making sure that I got to fill mine. Because to be honest with you, once this hunting trip was over, I was going to keep bow hunting. And I would have killed as many deer as I wanted during bow season after the fact, after this deer hunt. So I wasn't worried about it, but they was worried about it. And my boss, he made a big deal about it. So nobody hunted. We all loaded up in trucks, and what we did was we just drove around. We had radios, drove around till somebody spotted a deer. As soon as somebody spotted some deer, whatever truck I was in, we went to where the deer were at. I got out and I shot one. And that's what happened. One of the guys spotted some deer. Me and my boss, we took off, met up with them guys. When we get there, the deer are just running across the field. And it was a little forked horn, a little 4-pointer. I grabbed a 30-30 this time, not the AK-47. I used my boss's 30-30. Lever action. I think it was a Marlin though. It wasn't a Winchester because it was heavy. It was bulky. It was a Marlin 30-30. Pulled it up. Boom! Boom! Shot it a couple times. Dropped it. Loaded it up. Went back to deer camp. Now, all these deer, my boss took to the butcher. Everybody's deer. Went to the butcher, and my boss paid to have all them deer butchered. And then when it was said and done, it got divided evenly between all the hunters. So it didn't matter how many you killed. You would get more meat, but everybody got more meat. Take 7 guys and 3 deer apiece. That's 21. So, I mean, they was killing them, y'all. A lot of deer. All right, so I got one. One deer, but I did win the deer camp trophy for the most critters killed at deer camp. I had the highest harvest of all critters, and there's a trophy, but I didn't get to keep the trophy. But there was a deer camp trophy. Apparently this deer competition had been around before I ever went there. You didn't get the trophy, but what my boss would do was, for that year, he would have a brass nameplate made with, you know, your name and that year put onto the trophy. And the list stayed in the deer camp so they could reference that year to the list. Yada yada, okay, you get it? Alright, so that was the proof. Anyways, I never went back to deer camp. That was my only time I went to deer camp. It wasn't because I didn't have a good time or I didn't get invited. It was just because it was a little too dangerous for me. And I'll tell you what, it's hard for me to say that because I'm not too scared of much of anything. But that deer drive, that was it for me. And the fact that people up there was just shooting willy-nilly everywhere. I mean, it's dangerous up there. I'm surprised there's not more accidents during deer season up in that part of Missouri. I'm really surprised. But anyways, it was still a good time, and it's a memory I'll never forget. I had a blast, and I had fun with everybody that had went. I got to shoot a lot of stuff with my bow and arrow. I didn't let none of it bother me. I didn't let it bring me down, even though I got scared and had to basically belly crawl out of a pretty big field. I didn't have to belly crawl out, but I felt like I should, because I really didn't want to be, part of the deer hunts accident statistics. Did not want to become a member of that club at all. So no matter what, y'all, remember, don't let the little stuff bring you down. Don't sweat it. And if it starts bringing you down, get a hold of a friend, a family member, preacher, call 988. Get a hold of somebody, anybody, okay? And squatch it, okay? And they're going to make sure that you get back up on your feet so that you can keep on keeping on. All right? So remember, don't sweat the little stuff. Squatch it when it comes by. And most importantly, keep on keeping on. God bless everybody out there. Peace.